My name is Senior Airman Roslyn. I am a combat aerial broadcaster at the 1st Combat Camera Squadron at Joint Base Charleston. So basically I document a flight from cradle to grave, so that goes from the briefing where they talk about what's going to happen on the flight, and then from preparing the flight to take off, checking the mechanics, and then while we're flying in the cockpit, what the pilots are doing, and then landing, unloading anything if they have that type of aircraft. As a broadcaster at the 1st Combat Camera Squadron, our job is mainly to collect B-roll and to document uncontrolled action. We can integrate with any kind of team, and we have the training and the skills and the equipment to be able to document what they're doing. As a combat broadcaster, it's very important to be physically fit. It's important to be physically fit as a combat broadcaster because you're going to integrate with special forces teams. For me, as a combat aerial broadcaster, being fit is important because I'm expected to keep up with the teams, with the air crews that I'm integrating with. It's important in general to be physically fit in the military because, of course, every year we have our physical fitness test and we have to be able to run, we have to do push-ups. But especially in combat, you can't be that person that's lagging behind or that could even be perceived to be weak. Back in 2018, I went on an exercise where I was integrated with special forces teams from the Army, and we landed in a CV-22, and I had all my gear on me and all my tactical equipment, and I had to walk for 2 miles and keep up with these men who are trained to the highest level, and I had to keep up with them while I was also documenting what they were doing. If you're a person who is out of shape, if you run out of breath after just running 1 mile, you're not going to be able to do this job. For us in combat camera, we almost have to earn our place on special forces teams and on air crews because you show up, you're not part of that crew, these people don't know you. So for us at Combat Camera, we integrate with special forces teams. We are air crew members, but we're not technically a part of those teams. Like 9 times out of 10, when we show up to places, this is the first time these people are meeting us, so we have to make a fantastic first impression. And if we're slowing down, if we're lagging behind, if we're complaining about how sore we are, how much pain this is, they're going to find an excuse not to take us back out again, and that is going to be a detriment to our mission. So staying in shape and being physically fit is extremely important. I think people dislike running because it can be really boring, honestly. I get bored all the time. And it also, it hurts. It physically hurts to run. Your shins hurt, your knees hurt. Your pride can hurt from seeing that you've only run 1 mile and you're already sweating to death, you're out of breath. And then afterwards you don't, like, if you haven't been doing it for a while, you don't feel any better. And I think people don't like running because I think when people first start running, and if they don't keep up a consistent schedule with it, they never learn to like it. Because, right, when you're trying something for the first time with anything, you're not going to be good at it. This is like if you were to pick up a flute and try to play it, you wouldn't like it because you've never practiced it. The more you run, the more you practice it, you learn almost a way to entertain yourself while you're doing it, a way to keep your mind almost meditative while you're doing it. I think people don't like running because they don't consistently do it, right? So with anything, you have to practice to be good at it. You have to practice to learn what works for you. If you are only doing it once a month or once every 2 weeks or not at all, you're never going to learn the mindset you need to have about running. You're never going to hurt your... Let me start that over. I think people don't like running because they don't do it very often. With anything in life, you have to practice to be good at it. So the more I've done it, the more I've learned how to keep myself injury-free, how to keep my mind occupied while I'm going for 2 or 3 hours just running. And I think if people were to just spend more time doing it, they'd see that it's a relaxing activity, and it makes you feel better, keeps you in shape, and just makes you feel good about yourself. When I've decided that I wanted to run a marathon, I did not like running. I've never hated running, but I wanted something that I had to work towards, something that I couldn't just do halfway. 26.2 miles is a long, long way, even when you're driving a car. So running it takes a lot of dedication. And so when I first decided to do it, I was starting to gain weight, which was affecting my confidence, was affecting my health, and just my overall life. And I decided to do something about it, and I just kind of toyed around with the idea, and I was like, I'm gonna run a marathon. And I gave myself 1.5 years to train. I run because I had 26.2 miles to get through in 2 months. And if I don't run, then I'm going to fail and I'm going to fall out. And that is not acceptable for me. I'm not a quitter. I stick things through, and when I'm in Paris in April, I'm going to finish those 26.2 miles. And this past 1.5 years of work, of training, is all going to be worth it. So I'm training for the Paris Marathon on April 5th, 2020. In April, I will be running a marathon in Paris. In April, I will be running a marathon in Paris, France. The routine before I run. The routine before I run is convincing myself to do it. Even now, even though I've been doing it for almost 1.5 years, I still have days when sometimes I'll run in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon. I'll still have days when I get up or I come back from work and I'm like, this is the last thing I want to do. But then I think about 26.2 miles and I'm like, I have to run, because if I don't, I am going to fail and fall and hit that wall. There's more to training for a marathon than just running. You also have to look at what you're putting in your body. So carbohydrates, fruits, vegetables, proteins, and then you also have to worry about what you do before and after the run. So stretching, taking care of your legs, taking care of your back. Because if you don't look at what you're doing when you're not running, then you are a lot more likely to get injured, or if you're not taking care of your nutrition, you're gonna fall out. So it's almost just as important as the runs themselves. So I haven't had any injuries. I'd say the biggest problems I've had have been with my knee. So one of the biggest physical challenges that I've had with this marathon is my knee, specifically my left knee, because when you're pounding again and again and again and again on the pavement, it's going to affect your joints. And that has kept me from running a lot of days, and I've had to find solutions, like I wear a knee brace, and I've trained myself to step in a different way and use my legs in a different way so that I prevent that thing from happening so that I can continue to train. It's personally important for me to stay in shape. My job requires it, the Air Force requires it, and I demand it of myself. I've been in that position where I've been heavier than I wanted to be or skinnier than I wanted to be, and it affected my all-around health, not just my physical health, but also my mental health. So staying in shape and staying physically fit, it's a good practice to keep in your life, because it's going to keep you mentally balanced as well as physically balanced. It's definitely been challenging mentally, because I'll get home at the end of the day and it could have been just the worst day at work. The last thing I want to do is run. All I want to do is sit on my couch, get a bowl of ice cream, and watch a TV show or just go to sleep. But I know I can't do that because I do have this goal that I'm working towards. And I know once I go out there and do it, I'm going to be so happy with myself that I did, and I'm going to feel so much better. And then when I go back to work the next day, I'll have taken that time to center myself, and chances are that next day is going to be a lot better. Running has definitely impacted, I'd say, every facet of my life, from my relationships to my work to just my mental health. It's shown me that even though I have all these other things going on, I can still take the time to train and to run and to also just accomplish all these other things. And it's really just shown me what I'm made of. The most rewarding part of running is that at first it'll be the physical effects it has on your body. You're gonna slim down, you're gonna feel lighter, you're gonna feel like you have more energy because working out does that for you. You're also gonna have that mental part of it because working out gives you endorphins, it gives you confidence. But I think the most rewarding thing that I've had happen to me so far with running is that I recently completed a half marathon, and it's 13.1 miles, and it was difficult to get through it, but then I got to the end and I saw my family, I saw my friends, and crossing that finish line just felt so satisfying and really put validation into all the effort that I've been putting towards it. And it showed me that I am tougher than I thought I was. There is so much more to training for a marathon than just running. You also have to look at what you're eating, how you're taking care of yourself. So you can't, a lot of people have this common misconception that if you're a runner, you can eat whatever you want, and that is just false. You have to eat whole wheat carbohydrates, fruits, vegetables, and you have to eat it on a consistent basis. You also have to worry about after you run. You can't just be like, oh, I ran, 10 miles today, so this should be good. No, you also have to stretch your body out so that you're not getting injured, so that you can keep running. So making sure that your legs are properly stretched out before and after you finished running. For anyone else thinking about making running a hobby, don't just think about it, do it. Get your running shoes on, get your workout clothes on, and go out there and do it. Because the sooner you start, for anyone thinking about getting into running, I would say just get out there and do it. Get your running shoes on, get your workout clothes on, and just do it. You can run anywhere, it's free, it's easily accessible, and you're just gonna feel better about yourself the sooner you start. So running a marathon and completing a marathon is not something I can just do. I have to train every single day, I have to work at it every single day, I have to watch what I eat, I have to stretch. But in the end, it's shown me what I'm made of, and it's shown me what I can do. I have to keep going. And I think it's one of the best things I've ever decided to do. Every week, every day, I have to be consistently training for this.